Good morning, guys. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves you and I love you too.
God loves you and I love you too.
Feel the love and the unity.
Feel the love and the unity.
Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together. We come together.
We come together.
We come together.
We come together.
In the name of love. We come together.
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 In the name of love. Take a look at the person next to you.
Look at the person next to you.
Say, I recognize God in you.
Recognize God in you.
Feel the love and the unity.
Feel the love and the unity.
Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together. We come together.
We come together.
We come together.
Come together.
In the name of love. We come together.
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 Come together.
In the name of love. Every walk of life. Every creed and color. In kinship unite. In honor of God and each other. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love and the unity. Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. In the name of love.
All right. All right. Welcome, everyone. My name is Reverend Mike McMorrow. I'm the spiritual director here at the Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills. We're coming to you live from our sanctuary. I'm joined by the lovely and talented Reverend Nancy Woods, our assistant minister. And you heard from Ken Francis, who's our music director, and along with Jason Goldstein. They've been holding down the fort for a year now.
What?
Yeah, wow.
Okay.
Well, I guess we have 2 more weeks till it's a year since we last met. I'm talking to those folks. Yeah, I mean, we've been playing together longer than that, but all right. So let's all just take a deep, conscious breath together. As we start our morning, the way we like to start all our services here at the center, by coming together for our call to service, which we call Lighting the Flames of Faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. That fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this morning. So as Reverend Nancy lights the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. The fifth candle we light for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. The sixth candle we light for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. The seventh candle we light for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. The ninth candle we light for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And the 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here at our center, within our online community, and within our own hearts. And as Reverend Nancy lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experience the healing flame of God's eternal love.
There is one flame that burns in our hearts. There is one light that shines through our love. We light this flame with faith. We light this flame with faith. We find this light within our own souls. There is one flame, one light within.
This flame of faith is a faith in that divine power, that perfect presence, that which created all things. And in this recognition, I see and know and embrace the idea that each one of us is a manifestation of this presence. And knowing this is knowing that it has gathered together our consciousness on this time, at this time and in this hour, that we may share in its awareness and the awareness of its presence. And as we do this, we open ourselves up to an expanded understanding and expression of its presence. And know that as this hour unfolds, each one of us is taken to a deeper level of awareness and appreciation and embracement of that inner presence, that divine flame that is within all of us. And as we do this, we do it with an open heart, a loving acceptance, and appreciation of being able to be immersed in this type of energy in which we are flowing in life and open ourselves up to the wonders of its expression in so many glorious ways. So it's with love and acceptance and embodiment that of the law of the universe, that we say yes to this time, yes to this event, yes to whatever unfolds, yes to the idea that spirit is all. So as we unite in this awareness and appreciation, we say together, So it is. I think that when we recognize that the truth of our being, and have this type of experience where we gather together to honor it in music and in word and consciousness, that what we do, we open ourselves up to a greater expression of truth. Truth in the sense that we are letting ourselves embrace more the understanding and the truth of who we are. And I was reading this morning with Holmes, and he was talking about this truth, and when he said that we have a taste of this truth, and the greater presence of it is ours according to how we embrace it. So I was listening, I was reading that, and I'm listening to it, and I was thinking that this time that we're going through, this pandemic time, and even these social and political times, and all the events that are taking place right here and now, all of this is something that will pass away. But behind it is this understanding of truth. Truth in such a way that we understand it all and come into awareness that we're going to always be okay. The foundation of who and what we are is that divine presence in expression. And that no matter how unsettling the current issues are, somehow, in some way, it's guiding us towards a greater understanding of the truth of our being. And in this awareness and in this understanding comes a greater sense of peace, a greater sense of acceptance, of being okay where we are. And when I feel this sense of peace, then I can look forward to even greater things, because I understand that this spiritual presence is what provides for me. I understand that this spiritual presence is what my health is about. I understand the spiritual presence about what all the love that I experience in my life and the relationships. I understand that this spiritual presence is the author of all the creative energy that flows forth. And I really, really feel like this is the time, this is our time. This is the time that those of us, all of us, that are reaching for the truth are being given a hand by all the events that are around us. We're given an opportunity to not fall victim to the environment and everything that's unfolding. We're given the understanding that we can observe these events and still know that divine presence is taking care of us. And I feel like I feel like I wanted to share that and to say it. And it's kind of like a truth that is so big and so powerful that you know that as an individual, you can only do so much of bringing it forth, but I recognize that as we unite in bringing it forth, the greater it be experienced by all people. So all of us who are on the spiritual path, all of us, and everybody's on it. I don't know why I'm saying us as a separate. It is not a separate, because I feel like everybody's on it. Everybody's on this path to know and to understand the beauty of who and what they are. And it doesn't matter what the philosophical teaching that you're following, or whether you follow in philosophical teaching. But if you follow in life, this presence is guiding and directing us in everything. And I thank you for letting me share that. And I accept that this is a truth that I'm giving forth. Thank you.
It's still your birthday. Still your birthday all year. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Lady Madonna, children at your feet, wonder how you manage to make ends meet. Who finds the money when you pay the rent? Did you think that money won't heaven sent? Friday night arrives without a suitcase, Sunday morning creeping like a nun. Monday's child has learned to tie his bootlace. See how they run. Lady Madonna, baby at your breast, wonders how you manage to feed the rain. See how they run. Lady Madonna, lying on the bed, listen to the music playing in your head. Tuesday afternoon is never ending. Wednesday morning papers didn't come. Thursday night your stockings needed mending. See how they run. Lady Madonna, children at your feet, wonder how you manage to make ends meet.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for helping me celebrate. I'm still celebrating. Okay, so would you join me in saying the declarations of principles? We believe in one universal spirit manifesting through all, natural and incarnated in us. We believe this universal spirit is personal to and reveals itself through everyone who recognizes its presence. We believe our faith operates upon the law of mind, which automatically manifests in our experience according to that faith. We believe in the unity of all life, the immortality of the individual soul, forever expanding. We believe in eternal goodness, eternal loving kindness, and the giveness of life to all.
Very nice. Thank you. That was great all the way around. I was thinking about playing back when they had 45s. The records were 45. That was the first time I heard Lady Madonna. We played it over and over and over and over again on our record player because you didn't have stereos then. At least not in our house. Yeah. So, and you know, it kind of begs the question, just as it did then, you know, is it our job to look after Lady Madonna? Right? So that's why I love it when Ken brings popular music into the sanctuary, because almost all of it has a lesson of truth in it if we break it down. So I have a lot of material I'm going to cover today, so I'm just going to jump right into it. We're finishing our month with One Journey, Many Paths. And today's talk title is A Journey to Freedom. And given that, you know, this has been Black History Month, I usually like to cover a lot of that. I just kind of felt like I would give us a break from that for a while, given all of the tumult that came down at the end of last year and the beginning of this year. But I did want to bring some of that into the conversation this morning. And particularly to this idea that we are, all of us, embarked on a journey to freedom. A journey to freedom, which starts with the end in mind, which starts as a movement of consciousness within our own thinking, owning our own thought within our own heart, looking at the ways in which we love or the ways in which we withhold. And so this conversation this morning is from this perspective. Now, Reverend Nancy started us off at the beginning of the month speaking about how we are not bound by what has come before, that at any time in our life that we can wipe the slate clean to start over, to have a do-over, and to move forward in life. Then the next week I added some reflections on this subject as well, with the idea of how to find, create, and use ritual to facilitate and release old thinking that no longer serves us, and to free us up to play around with this thing that we call spiritual mind treatment or spiritual experimentation that allows us to move from is God to God is. Last week we spoke to the interconnectedness of life and how we can build a sense of connectedness even online. And so we did that. If you remember, we took a deep breath and then we hummed on the exhale. And I have to say, I got some nice comments through the week that people appreciated that we could have an experience of connectedness knowing that there were others joining us with the breath on the exhale, right? That even though we may not physically be together, that there was a sense of connection, a connection that is what we teach here, that there is an aspect to life that is metaphysical in nature, that is beyond that which we see. It is the seen and the unseen. And that we are constantly demonstrating our belief in it according to that belief. So let's take another deep breath. And hum. Now, I got this practice from a fellow named Resma Menachem, and he's a writer and psychologist who uses this exercise to help harmonize bodies of color with white bodies and blue bodies. That he's written a book, My Grandmother's Hands, Racialized Trauma and the Pathway to Mending Our Hearts and Bodies. And he's on to something here because he too is a student of other teachers in this idea of somatic or body, bringing body awareness into our conscious life. And what he's speaking to really is that My Grandmother's Hands, this book is a call to action for all of us to recognize that racism is not only about the head, it's not only about what we think, but about the body, and introduces an alternative view of what we can do to grow beyond our entrenched racialized divide. And it paves the way for a new body-centered understanding of white dominance, or if you like, white supremacy, and how it is literally, this is Resma's words, it's literally in our blood and our nervous system. It's in our DNA. Now what this means is that it's intergenerational and it's cultural. So this idea, he offers many exercises. This is the one that's probably the easiest for us to do. So you can see how just we experienced this last week, even online. And he's come by this information by doing dozens and dozens and dozens of workshops with black folk and police and white folk. And so he does this idea of taking a breath and humming together as a way to harmonize. So let's try that one more time. Breathe. And to hum. And the idea that we're harmonizing within a very difficult subject. So this book goes into great detail about, and explores the nature of police shootings, for instance, and how racialized thinking is something that has been downloaded in us, and it will take conscious effort to work through it. And for all of us to do. And he breaks it down quite succinctly. And he offers a step-by-step healing process based on the latest neuroscience and somatic healing methods. In addition, he does throw some social commentary in there because he himself is an African-American man raising an African-American son. So there's the information. I would encourage you to get, if you're looking for some practical ways in which you can engage in practices yourself or with others. It's a very powerful book. Because I've been engaged in a book study around this book, and I can tell you stuff has come up in our own class. What I am aware of is that I'm aware that there is a healing. There is a healing that is being called to express here. That there are those, that I know that there are those who believe that this racism stuff is overblown, and that by focusing on it, that we just make it worse. And, there's a part of me that I can certainly understand that point of view. And I have to say, I was kind of headed that way myself. And then we see the Confederate battle flag in the Capitol in January. All right, so I'm not going to get into all of that, except to say that it was there. And what is being revealed to be healed. That there is still work to be done. Now, I know in a way, I'm probably speaking to the choir this morning, and yet at the same time, there are these aspects within us that are kind of co-creating a system that is that I think really is now ready to be dismantled, right? We're ready to dismantle our structure of knowing around the systems of racism in our culture. And some of them were some pretty crazy ideas, I think, and many others think. But hey, man, let's just get them all out there, because what we've done, it keeps giving us what we're getting. So I understand that some folks want to move on. Some folks want to discount the whole thing as yet another example of victim thinking. And I would say to that, yes, it is. Victim thinking by all involved. Unconscious bias towards the extremes that is calling for healing so that all may be free. So that all may be free. To seek ways of justice and respect that attune the most discordant voices among us to a sense of peace and harmony, respect, and justice for all. Now, this work is deep. This work is deep. It's messy. I got to tell you, it's uncomfortable as hell. But still, it needs to be done. Now, why would metaphysicians need to bother with any of this? Because we know that God is all there is, right? Well, the idea is that we don't want to hide out in our teaching, because our teaching can give us cover to not look at things deeply. Because Holmes himself said that there is a tendency on the part of all of us to reproduce the accumulated subjective experiences of the human race. Okay, so in other words, we're locked into thought forms until we wake up and bring the power of awareness to it, and then we can think in a different way. And when enough of us think in a different way, then things will begin to demonstrate differently. Now, you can take that wherever you want. right? But we can see just kind of in an intuitive way, without even really thinking deeply on it, how this would be so. Now, if, as people of faith, we are wanting to grow in connection to and our understanding of the divine, we're going to have to work with those places within ourselves that we just can't be bothered to visit, that make us uncomfortable, that make us afraid of labels. Maybe we think, oh, it's just too hard, or I'm too old. It's too uncomfortable, or maybe, you know what, it's just the way things are. Not visiting old ways, or even worse, avoiding old ways which do not serve us, which ultimately will set us free, all of us free. So the only protest line we need to face is the line of protesters lined up within our own thinking. And to do this not with swords and shields of rigid ways of thinking, but instead to practice what Ernest Holmes called being open at the top. And what the Sufi mystic Rumi would say is to listen with the ear of the heart. Because Holmes also said that the inherent nature of man is forever seeking to express itself in terms of freedom. That too is in our DNA. This longing to be free. So when we're working and experimenting in the realm of spirituality, we may be treating for stuff and things. And we may think we need what it is that we need a car. But really what we're looking for is the freedom behind what we believe that new car will provide us. The freedom behind what a pay raise will provide for us. The freedom that we believe we will find in conscious relationship with another. The expression of love, of creativity, that there's a freedom in all of it that is longing to express itself. And this is why, in this teaching, and particularly in the way that we approach it in this center, right, of which Dr. Maureen and Reverend Nancy were kind of the vanguards of this back in the day, but we spend so much time on this cultivating our awareness to be open to the ways in which we think, to observe the tendency of that thought. Does my thought serve the highest good? Does my thought serve the highest good? And the highest good being is what I want for myself, what I want for my neighbor. That is the highest good. Right? What I want for myself, do I want for Lady Madonna? How can I shift and lift the tendency of my thinking to express more of freedom? Free enough to know that I have enough to share, that there's enough capacity to know a life that is expressing where all prosper with me as I prosper. Right? Without judgments as to effort. Right? For ourselves or others. But rather to start at a consciousness level of knowing that we live, move, and have our being in an abundant universe. And the problem is not one of abundance, but rather distribution. And an acknowledgement that we are all working hard within our respective gigs. It's not about anyone being too lazy. It's just being open to do the work to express life more fully and more completely in harmonious ways in ways that have overflow in it, that I'm raising not only myself, but I'm committed to raising others, bringing them with me. With boundaries. There's no free ride because we're all committed to doing this together. Now, in this consciousness of enoughness, our perception of the divine then shifts. Our sense of gratitude grows and deepens. And in this gratitude, we feel a deeper connection. Because after all, gratitude then is the portal to love in expression. A connection with Spirit at a heart level that is so open that I love my neighbor as myself. That what I want for myself, I want for others. Making all welcome in our thinking, in our heart, in our center, in our schools, in our communities, in my neighborhood. All are welcome. To be open to thought that is so connected in heart and mind that it vibrates with the divine song of love for all. So let's take a deep breath on that. And let's hum. So Holmes said, and you're going to hear a lot of Holmes today. Holmes also said that the man or person whose thought is the most God-like, that is the truest, the highest, most noble, the most complete, the most peaceful, will be the best healer. So those of us who are practitioners of this philosophy, we call the science of mind and spirit. And we're all practitioners. Some of us have a license, but we're all practitioners. This is what we're striving for in those first two steps. Realizing God is and I am one with it. And to contemplate so that this becomes the truest, highest, most noble, most complete, most peaceful mantra within us. So, Reverend Celeste Frazier, who is a minister out from Chicago, Salam's territory, she shared this in these talk notes this week, that peace and harmony are divine qualities that we possess. When we vision for the highest and best, or when we meditate on the ultimate reality, we are in peace and harmony with all. With all. Now, I just want you to just kind of click back in your own thinking in the ways that may not be true. And I'm talking to both sides of whatever spectrum you want to go to. Because progressives can be stuck in their thinking as much as a conservative may be stuck in theirs, or not. So it has nothing to do with that, but instead a tuning to the ultimate reality where peace and harmony dwell. Our focus is on the Spirit, and there is nothing outside of Spirit. Therefore, we can honor and appreciate and not dishonor and appropriate contributions of any peoples, but particularly in this case, those of African descent. So she's calling on us to live together in harmony without insecurity. That harmony can come through acceptance of something more than what we've always done or known. That peace can come in opening to dialogue that is inclusive of everyone's dignity, and that we can breathe and hum through all of it. So Holmes says that we should always ask ourselves if what we wish to produce, if what we wish produces harmony, and then be sure that there is no hurt in it for anyone. And then Ernest Holmes had a teacher, Emma Curtis Hopkins. Now, Emma Curtis Hopkins, let me go, because I don't think I'm going to get to this, but I do want to share with you. She has this idea of the 5 denials. At the metaphysical level of life, there are 5 denials that we must make. That there is no evil, there is no evil, there is no matter, there is no absence of life, substance, or intelligence. There is nothing to hate. There is nothing to hate. And there is no sin, error. There is no sin, sickness, or death. That's from the absolute, at the level of spirit. And she calls us out a little bit on this, where she says, often we see people who yield to some trivial temptation while thinking and talking high science. In other words, we don't get to hide out in this teaching. It is plain that the water of their character is brackish. Hence, like Plato, we all need to meet some special claim of the absence of good in our life, some claim so subtle that we may not appreciate its presence. A habit of running people down will run some healthy part of our body down into disease. We must indeed think and speak of all people from the standpoint of their God in them as life and substance, instead of from the standpoint of their appearance to us before our sickness will be cured, which is basically what Reverend Nancy said this morning. So, and then she says further that, you can get tripped up. We get tripped up on this, that there is no sin, sickness, or death. And of course, this is often the work for those of us who are in this new order of thought. And she asks the question, where? Where is there no sin, sickness, or death? And she says, in God, of course. And where is God? Everywhere. This removes the sins of our sight, which were put there by our belief in the absence of goodness in people. Ooh. So there's no room for judgment in this gig, man. We shall certainly see people more honorable and chaste of being where we are when we have spoken of sin, sickness, and death, and not as possible in a world occupied by goodness. We shall certainly see less sickness if the idea of people as being of undivided wholeness of spirit is real in our own mind. We shall be utterly free from seeing death in any form or under any circumstances if we appreciate that in the omnipresent life there is no death. What we would call the eternality of the soul. If we are not set free from ever coming in contact with sin, sickness, and death by these 5 denials, we may be sure we have some prejudices of mind to get rid of. Hence, it is well to devote one morning every week to reasoning out why we are, in spirit and in truth, free from these errors. So let's call the musicians up. And let's take a deep breath while they come up. and hum. Tune ourselves with the divine song of life. And I will leave you with this notion from Meister Eckhart, the 13th century mystic, which is where most of Christian mystics came from. Spirituality is not to be learned by flight from the world or by running away from things or by turning solitary and going apart from the world. Right? So we're not to turn away from it, deny that stuff's going on. Rather, we must learn an inner solitude wherever or with whoever we may be. We must learn to penetrate things and to find God there. So take a deep breath and hum. And so as we go about this day, this Sabbath day, in however way you're moving and grooving, let's look to see the divine in things great and small. To be open to cultivate our awareness, to step away from old ways of thinking that may have kept us held bound or shackled in some way, so that we might experience more freedom, harmonize more with life, and the expression of love and creativity in all of its forms. And take that into our week and see how it goes. Maybe even drop me a line and let me know how it went. And I'll see you next week.
On the first part of the journey, I was looking at all the life. There were plants and birds, rocks and things. There was sand and hills and rings. The first thing I met was a fly with a bug and a sky with no clouds. The heat was hot and the ground was dry. The air was full of sound. Been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La 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 la. After 2 days in the desert sun, my skin began to turn red. After 3 days in the desert fun, I was looking at a riverbed, and the story it told of a river that flowed made me sad to think it was dead. You see, I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La 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 la. La 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 la. La I let the horse run free, 'cause the desert had turned to sea. There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There was sand and hills and rain. The ocean is a desert with its life underground and its perfect disguise all above. On the city's lies, heart made of ground, but the humans will give no love. I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La 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 la.
That was really excellent. Let's give them some love from home now. Take a deep breath and hum. Love. Yeah, there we go. All right, nicely done. That was great. I love the way you're using the ukulele and kind of changing it up there. Yeah. And then Jason's got the bass thing going on. Yeah. You guys are a pretty dynamic duo there. All right, so it's our opportunity now to practice some generosity and participate in the law of circulation by means of our offering. So you can do this in one of several ways. On our website, you can see the donate button is present there, and you can jump on there and take care of it that way. And that will take you to PayPal, and the PayPal portal will look like that. So if it looks like something else, you went the wrong spot. And you can use your debit card to be as generous as you dare to be. And then if this is your phone, or your phone will look like this, and you swipe about 3 or 4 times, that'll get you to that same, you hit the donate button. Oh, you don't see that, I keep forgetting. Hit that donate button, and then that too will take you to the PayPal portal. If you're on YouTube channel, you can just hit the icon in the upper right-hand side there where the arrow is, and that will take you to that same portal. And you can also use the Facebook page, and you can give through Facebook, which actually has no fees attached to it. But then Mr. Zuckerberg is watching. But we appreciate, however it gets here, we appreciate it. Or you can continue to send in your offerings through the mail, and also that the easiest way really is through bill pay through your bank when you're doing the rest of your banking. And so, with that, that's how you do it. And now Ken will set the tone, Ken and Jason, with our offering chant.
3, 4. Spirit gives through me, Spirit receives through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me. Spirit lives and breathes through me. Spirit gives through you, Spirit receives through you, Spirit lives and breathes through you. Spirit lives and breathes through you. Spirit gives through us, Spirit receives through us, Spirit lives and breathes through us. Spirit lives.
taking a deep breath for a moment longer and release, just recognizing and knowing that however our gifts make it to the center, represented by this giving consciousness, represented by this basket, that we know that for all of it, that it is that recognition that God is our source, our substance, our supply. So now we, representing the heart of this spiritual community, accept these gifts with deep love, appreciation, and respect, as we know together they go forth to heal, to prosper, and to bless not only the vision and mission of this center and this online effort, but to bless anyone connected to our center in any way. That we extend these glad tidings to our friends here in our community of Granada Hills, our city of Los Angeles, our state of California, our United States of America, all of its churches, temples, mosques, schools, universities, the people who attend them, the people who support them, including our parents, and that for our planet as well, that we know that all of it is an emanation from the very mind of the divine itself, and to the extent that we know this to be so, we see it demonstrating in all ways, great and small. So we just take a deep breath and in gratitude release it to its divine unfoldment, in gratitude knowing that it's done. And so it is. Amen. So I just want to point out to you also that this talk title, this topic today, that your practitioner community, that we are committed to exploring these things. In fact, we will be doing so in a workshop next week. So if you want to support your practitioner community as we explore these things together, the answer is always yes. Do me a favor and help me thank Mr. Ken Francis for his gift of music today, and of course Jason as well. And maybe give Michael and Evan a shout out there for their service to make this thing happen here. And of course to Reverend Nancy, who will now pray us out. Thanks for being here.
And to those who are reaching for a greater experience of life itself in all ways, and if you have something in particular you want to have us to pray for, you can always contact Reverend Mike here at the center. But today we're going to know that each and every one of us, each person, is able to experience and know, and feel and express life more fully and more completely. Because in this recognition of that presence that is within comes the energy, the awareness, the intelligence, whatever it takes for us to experience a greater expression of life. Comes that which is necessary for us to step into our freedom in a greater way. And we step into this freedom, and that's freedom to experience health in our bodies and our minds. Freedom to experience being supported and knowing that that supplier, that source of the divine is always supplying for us. And the freedom to experience the energy of allowing ourselves to create newness and to bring forth that gift that we have been given in being the individual that we are. And freedom in experiencing love in all ways and in all forms. For the source of that love is truly in our hearts and our minds already. So as we allow this understanding and this awareness to spring forth, a greater expression of life is what we have to appreciate and to embrace. And so it's with joy and appreciation we accept that there is a law that is saying yes to everything that we have placed in it. Therefore, the fruitions of it are now being experienced by each person that is reaching for a greater awareness of life itself. So with love and acceptance, we let it be so, as we say together, and so it is.
Please join us in singing the peace song. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. United all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be